So if you hear terms like generative AI, which is basically tools like ChatGPT, they have to be trained on vast amounts of information. That's how they work in order to develop effective machine learning algorithms. There's a new study, though, out from Stanford, and it says one of the major databases that they used to train these AI tools was found to contain some highly disturbing material. Researchers found over 1,000 images of child sexual abuse in this database, and it raised the possibility that image generators have been trained to create realistic fake images of child exploitation. And for more on this and some of the other challenges posed by AI, especially when it comes to children, we're joined now by Leah Plunkett, who's a faculty associate at Harvard's Berkman Klein Center for Internet and Society. And the book is called Parenthood: Why We Should Think Before We Talk About Our Kids Online, which is really the big topic we'll get into in a moment. But on this particular study, Leah, how does something like this happen? How did these images end up in this database?
According to the study published by researchers at Stanford, the database by Laion, L-A-I-O-N 5B, crawled the open web and pulled many, many billions, I believe, of images that could be used to train image generators. And on that open web crawl, which was actually pulling links and metadata, not downloading the actual images into the data set, according to Stanford's excellent research, a couple of thousand images contained CSAM, child sexual abuse material. And tragically, and an issue of urgent moral and practical crisis, there are really countless CSAM or near CSAM type images that are still available on the open web, not just buried deep in the dark web. And so basically, if you go crawling along the web to look for many, many, many images on which to train image generators, you do wind up, as Laion apparently did according to Stanford, getting some illegal, awful, horrific links out to things available on the web.
Is there any way to prevent it? I mean, because I'm sure it's all being done with algorithms in an automated fashion, I mean, how would we prevent that from happening? What should we do?
Stanford made some great suggestions for things that these open image data repositories can do to have better filtering up front. They've made recommendations that any company or other institution that is using Laion 5B data to train its image generators or anything else, pause what they're doing and bring in a multi-stakeholder expert team to take a close look, make sure that they don't have anything in there that they shouldn't. Of course, any reports of CSAM images should be made to law enforcement, local, state, and federal. And also, last but certainly not least, those of us who are parents or trusted adults in children's lives can make sure, of course, that we never, ever come anywhere close to taking images that amount to the abuse or exploitation of children. And hopefully that goes without saying, but
no,
I'm
it
saying
should
it
go
anyway.
without saying. But what about images in general? Because I've read some of your work on algorithms, and just talking about AI and the algorithms that are used to make these various AI products, or what, for lack of a better term. But should parents just avoid posting images, period, of their children? Forget about anything that could be taken out of context to exploit them, but just images in general in this age.
At this moment in time, in this age, as AI ramps up with limited to no guardrails, yes, I would advise parents to refrain from posting any images of their children on the open web, including social media sites, especially those where your privacy settings are set to public. I would still have some pause about posting even when the social media privacy settings are set to private, because unfortunately there's no accounting for the ability of someone, among other things, to download an image and repost it. I'm not saying that parents should refrain from being proud of their children and connecting to friends and family and community, but I am saying right now the risks of having any image of your child, even harmless, innocent, wonderful ones out there, really are starting at this current moment to outweigh the benefits.
Yes.
Parents who wish to share with family and friends,
They just
I
text
encourage them to think about texted on end-to-end encrypted apps, or texting, or even old-fashioned email.
Yeah, print out the picture, or something, or email. No, it's a good point.
It is holiday card season.
Right. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.